Hello everybody. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about my experience about how I came to be a 988 operator. So today's video is going to be consisting of my experience in training and how that went, as well as taking my first few calls. And I imagine this is going to be the first video, the first of many videos that I'm going to be making with the goal of providing information about what it's like to be a 988 operator. So I'm going to set this up somewhat in a chronological order, and I definitely hope to improve these videos as well, as this video will consist mostly of me speaking, but I do want to set up some PowerPoints or things along those lines where I can provide this in a cleaner manner. But notwithstanding, hopefully this video will be helpful to everyone who's watching it. So again, I'm going to be talking about my training experience, how that was like, and I'm going to be more or less going about this in a chronological fashion. So I'm going to be starting off with week one. I actually moved out of state, or I actually moved from one state to another state for this job, and so far I'm really happy that I was able to do so. Before this I was in sales, and now I'm back in my original domain, which is what I studied in psychology. So I'm very happy that I was able to take this position on, and maybe I can make a video about how I found this job. In any case, without further elaboration on that point, I'm going to be talking about the experience and training. So I'm going to start with week one. So week one consisted a lot of pedagogical training. So that is to say, just a whiteboard fashion kind of training where we have it's a regular classroom fashion. So you've got the students in front, and then you've got the instructor with the whiteboard or PowerPoint. So the instructor had a lot of PowerPoint slides to go over, and the students, really the onus for us was just to assimilate the information as much as possible, to assimilate as much information as possible, both quantitatively and qualitatively as well. We want to take in the information, but we also want to understand the information. So it was a lot of that in the first 2 to 3 weeks even. There was a lot of information, and one of the points that I'm going to be touching on right now is the active listening component, which makes up a big portion of what we're doing on these 988 calls. The reason we're doing a lot of this is because a lot of these people that call in, what they need is emotional support. They need someone that can validate their feelings, that can give them deeper insight into what's really going on with their situation. And it's really hard to find people to talk to about your situation, because the issue is that a lot of us, and it's not to be pejorative or in any sense or in any manner like that, but a lot of us partake in these kinds of behaviors where we try to minimize the other person's situation. So for example, something that happens a lot is someone will say, I failed my exam, like this is so bad. And then the friend will say, don't worry about it, everything will be fine, right? And so that impedes the whole, how can I say this? That impedes the whole growth component of how the person is able to handle this situation that they're in. Essentially, when you're validating the person's worldview and their situation as a whole, and you can accept that situation, and you can accept the totality of their situation and of them and their feelings, that person can start the process of accepting themselves. And in that process of them accepting themselves is where change occurs. And that comes from Carl Rogers. Obviously, I don't want to take any credit for that notion there. But this growth is imperative for the person to move forward in a functional way in life. And unfortunately, these people that call in don't really get enough of that in their immediate support. And so that's why they're calling in. And oftentimes they'll have these thoughts of suicide. So right away, when we take these calls, within the first 5 to 7 minutes, we're instructed to ask 4 questions to really assess for suicide. And I'll go over those in just a short bit here, but yeah, actually, I'll go over them right now. So the first one would be, have you had any thoughts of suicide over the past few days, including today? The second question would be, have you had any attempts to kill yourself in the past or take your own life? The third question would be, have you taken any action to harm yourself, including today? Have you taken any action to harm yourself today? And then the fourth question would be, are you a veteran? That would be for demographic purposes. But those first three questions are imperative when we're assessing suicide. Now, if the person answers yes to these, there's 4 things that we look for. We look for desire, so that is the suicidal ideation. I'm going to talk about this right now. Let me get my little notebook here. So the 4 facets of suicide would be desire, intent, capability, and buffers. So those are the 4 things that we really look for when assessing people for suicide. I'm not going to get into it too much today because I want to talk about my experience of training. But in any case, with desire, you usually have some kind of ideation, some kind of hopelessness that comes with the feelings of feeling trapped or feeling like a psychological pain. And then you've got the intent component. So the intent component will be, have there been attempts in progress? Or is there an attempt in progress? Are there preparatory behaviors such as giving all your stuff away, going to the store, buying the means? The third component would be the capability or the capacity. That would be the history of attempts. Maybe you've tried to kill yourself in the past. Are you feeling dysregulated right now? What are the means? Do you have the Xanax? Do you have the benzodiazepines? What are you doing? What are you going to do to kill yourself? And do you have that thing, that agent that will allow you to carry out those actions? And then the last thing would be the buffers. The buffers would be things that would reduce your possibilities of suicide. That would be kind of these things like your support system, the reasons for living, this ambivalence that you may have. So, why do I want to live? And maybe it could be that I don't really want to die, but I just want the pain to go away. That could be an ambivalent feeling. So anyways, I don't want to talk about that too much today, but that is something that I learned in the classroom setting. So in any case, that was pretty much the first 2 to 3 weeks of the training. And then towards the end of training, it was a lot of shadowing. So it was a lot of listening to other operators and listening to the stories of the callers that call in. And as you can imagine, it's very emotional baggage usually. So I'm going to start out with talking about my calls and some of the calls that I took this week. So it was a little bit of a nerve-wracking experience to take my first call. Notwithstanding, it went great. I was very happy that I took it. It was a low, I would say it was a low lethality caller. In other words, ideation was present, but there wasn't any means or there wasn't any plan that was really clear. So in other words, I was able to talk to him, to converse with him, and to de-escalate the situation. And really what he needed was someone to hear him out. And I talked with this gentleman for about an hour. And it really is so what the job really consists of, in essence, is to really take on the worldview of the other person, to accept the person where they are at that time, And as Carl Rogers would say, to have this unconditional positive regard for the other person. So it really is about being non-judgmental. This person that I was talking to was actually accused of capital punishment a long time ago, and finally he didn't do it, but he was accused of it, and it caused it to be quite a burden for him throughout his life. But that is to say, it's just you never want to judge because you don't know where the person is coming from. So, with that being said, it's very hard to say this person should have done this, or this person should not do this, because we don't have the totality of what that person is going through. So it really is seeing these people in a non-judgmental way, and really to kind of extend their thoughts in a way. And how can I say this? Maybe the person is saying, I don't want to live anymore. And I could say, it sounds like life has really given you a tough time. From there, the person will open up. Yes, it's been so hard. Like, I've had this, I've had this, I've had this. And I would say, well, it's no wonder you're feeling that way. It must be so tough to deal with this and this and this. What have you done in the past to deal with these kinds of things? And it's just, you continue on like that. But what you're doing as a 988 operator is you're really listening to the person. You're hoping for the person to develop insight into their situation for growth to occur. And once growth occurs, the person can go about their life in a more functional way. So anyways, that's all the information that I'm going to give today, because I don't want to give too long of a video here. But like I said, this will be part of a series that I'll be doing. I'll give you some regular updates about what it's like to be a 988 operator, some of the stories, and yeah, hopefully many more videos to come. So thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.